Welcome back to the podcast. Gabe Yanez and I, we are on for our weekly episode where we're talking about, we're definitely going to talk about Liver King today.
And birthdays.
And birthdays? Come on. So where do you want to start? I mean, I know you're going to give me a hard time about the birthday.
With the birthday thing.
I mean,
so it's Ashley's birthday today. So happy birthday to Ashley. Not when this is coming out, but when we're recording. Do you want to give her a special shout out here on the podcast?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's probably not going to listen to this, but yeah, my wife and I, I was thinking about it. I was at her 16th birthday party, and here I am, I was at her 16th I was at her 16th, and now here it is, her 39th. It's pretty wild if you think about it, but no, Ashley's the best. Life, I hope every husband can relate to this. Every guy, every girl listening can relate to this. Dude, finding the right partner is so important because life is going to be very difficult. It's just the expectation. And dude, I got lucky meeting Ashley on the first day of algebra class for sure. So it's been good. But she, it's funny because my in-laws got her a cutout of what's his name, Pitbull, because Ashley is a huge Pitbull fan. So if anybody listening to this show has any connections with Pitbull, I will be extremely grateful if you can connect me, because I have been trying to get a hold of Pitbull. I would love for him to send her a birthday shout out, go to a show, whatever, but she's a giant fan. So we had a big cutout of him at yesterday's event. So it's all good though.
Was that, how tall is he? I saw the picture of the cutout. Is that real size?
So he's 5'7". So I actually
he's hella
appreciate the fact that I'm taller than him for sure. But Ashley's been to, I want to say Ashley's been to 6 of his concerts, and if she had it her way, she'd go to every one of his concerts, and she loves the energy he puts out. I guess people all wear these bald things. So I guess because he's bald, right?
Yeah.
And I guess they wear almost like swim caps, right? And so everybody in the arena is wearing a swim cap to look bald like him. I guess it's a thing.
That's fun, man. That's fun. I love his music. I'm a big fan too. So that's cool.
I'm a big fan.
But anyway, so you were saying that next year she's going to be 40 and she'll probably want to make, big celebration out of 40. And then you were like, I don't really celebrate. I'm not a big birthday guy. I have never met a bigger birthday guy in my life, dude. How many times a year do you bring up your birthday? And how many times have we had things related to work that we want to get done by your birthday? It'd be really nice to get this app launched by your birthday. Not ironically either. You want it done by your birthday. Yeah.
I mean, this year, I'm turning 40 in a couple of months, and I have not been able to lock down what we're doing. I had this whole idea, this grand idea of doing some major hike. And then, I mean, it's a good example of when things are difficult, it's so easy not to want to do it, but then that's not a good reason not to do it. Difficult in terms of logistics and stuff, not the actual event. So what I might do for my birthday, dude, honestly, is I might just walk out my front door and just walk to Santa Cruz and go jump in the ocean and have somebody come pick me up. And it'll probably be with a bunch of people who want to go do it too. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. It's going to be 24, 25 miles, maybe even a little bit longer. And just
is there a legit trail?
No, the problem is the trail got impacted by fire, by a fire. And so you'd have to be on some back roads and some other stuff. You'd have to be aware. So if we're on some back roads, we just couldn't have 50 people because it's not a traditional trail, and you don't want to, put somebody at risk of getting hit by a car. But I don't know. That's what I'm currently thinking about. Obviously do some with the family, do some with whatever. But I was just thinking on the day of, just wake up, not even make it a big deal. 5 a.m., headlamp on. Hey, if a couple of guys want to go with me, let's go, right? That's it. I don't know. We'll see.
So I am not a big birthday celebration person at all. And the other day, a little while back, Dave Smith is a pretty funny comedian. I appreciate a lot of the stuff that he puts out. And he went on this whole rant about how birthday celebrations are only for women and children, and how men celebrating birthdays is absolutely absurd. He was being a little funny about it, but anyway, I just thought it was funny because you are a big birthday guy, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you should just dude, I'm a big birthday guy. I love my birthday.
Like a birthday
I like to celebrate my birthday. It's all good.
Yeah, Ashley normally likes to celebrate it for like a week. I'm good with like a day, but the 40 is kind of a big deal. I don't want to regret not doing something cool. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Dude, what's up with your boy?
Well,
So
no,
after you mentioned
on that note, on the aging note, just because it's a better segue, and then we can talk about Liver King. I sent out an email this morning. This actually happened yesterday. So I wrote the email after this like very legitimately happened. It was a very weird moment. It was very funny because I was filling out, for anyone that doesn't get our newsletters, definitely sign up. I'm going to start sending out more email content from us weekly, something that I want to double down on, just putting more value out there, some more like nutrition advice, answering questions as stuff come in. There's been so many great interactions through emails that I definitely want to double down on that stuff. So if you're not signed up, make sure you hit the link in bio and make sure that you do sign up. But yesterday, so I was filling out some paperwork. I was just running an errand. And like sometimes when you have to like fill out a bunch of stuff, they like have you like, hey, triple check that everything here is correct. So I'm like scanning through and you scan through and like, nothing jumped out at me except my age. It said 34. And like, I had this moment where I was like, no, that's not right. But like, it is right. I am 34. And it was funny because in my head, it was kind of just one of those things where, and I know that probably for a lot of people listening, 34 is, still relatively young. I think it's still relatively young, but it's kind of one of those things where like, I don't know, for so long, once mid 30s comes around, it seems like such a distant future. And now that you're in it, it's still like a little like, whoa,
and
like
you still feel young. Dude,
when did that happen?
Bro, I was in Vegas with Ashley. This is like I don't even know when this was, a little bit ago. And I'm so bad, dude. So these like young college age girls are there, like all prettied up, glammed up, whatever. And I'm walking by and I'm with Ashley. And dude, these girls, they're trying to like take a selfie. And so I walk up to them. I was like, hey, would you like me to take your picture for you? Like, no creepy vibe, no nothing. Just like, I'm just trying to do you a favor. I'm with my wife. Maybe they didn't see her at the time. And this girl, dude, bro, she looked at me like, ew, you're old. Like, I just remember Ashley, I just looked at each other like, oh shit. She's like, no, we're fine. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to like fucking hit on you. Like, my wife is right here. It just makes you realize, like, I don't think I'm that old, but then, I mean, dude, I'm almost 40. So I remember what people used to look like that were almost 40 when I was in my 20s, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't
it's
think
just
I look old, but
it's a perception. And anyway, so I left the thing just thinking a lot about aging in general, because it has been like a really weird 3 years in that it's so strange once you have kids, your concept of time gets so warped in like really weird ways. I know that the saying is the days are long, but the years are short. And it's true, right? Like in many ways, it feels like the last 3 years have like flown by, right? Like Shay's so old, like when did that happen? But at the same time, like any time before kids seems like a lifetime ago. Like it seems like just a completely different time. So all that is just very strange because I feel like, your concept of like, oh, how long has it really been since we had kids feels like really short and really long at the same time. And you start to like forget, when you age and you're younger, every year is like, this big deal. It's like you turn 21 and then this, you're like turning 25 and then this, and you're like constantly keeping track. And it's such a big deal of your life. Whereas I feel like now, for me at least, it just kind of blends into everything else. And for a moment while I was looking at this stupid form, I literally was like, I was like, wait, am I 34 or is that right? Like, it doesn't seem right. I was like doing math. I was like 2025, 91. Oh yeah, I am 34. And it was just a good reminder that like, dude, it goes by fast. It goes by fast, but it's also like, it is a weird time where age isn't this like every year is a big deal in a number. It's just kind of like a thing. And I think that on that note, and what I included in the email, I think that your body obviously starts changing. You start like, recovering different. There's different things that like you need to prioritize and not prioritize. And I think that there's always a way to get in front of all that stuff so that you never, because I never want to feel, because I never want to feel old. Like, I don't want to feel like, oh man, I remember when I could do all those things. I remember when I was fit, when I was strong, when I was all these things. Like, sure, maybe there will be a moment where like it's just inevitable that you feel that way because your body does change, but you can do so many things to create a hedge so that moment never comes. And I just kind of like reminded me on that. In the email, I put out some, what I think is like good basic principles to think about so that, regardless of where you're at, mid 30s, mid 40s, mid 50s, you can do whatever you can to just like, really slow down the biological clock and how you feel, which for some people might feel inevitable, but it really is. Like there's so many things you can do to feel better now
you don't
than
have
maybe
to
you did
feel
10 years
old.
ago.
You could be old. You could look, I guess, old. Like I'd like to think that I look younger than if I wasn't as fit as I am. I'd like to think that way, right? But like I think choosing to feel old, like feeling old is more of a choice than getting old. Does that make sense? Like
100%.
like
100%.
of course, when you're 80, you're going to feel different than when you were 20. Of course. But especially like here I am at almost 40, it's almost a choice every day that I need to make to see how I want to feel physically, because I'm going to get older. It's just the way it's going to go. But I don't have to feel like crap, because I don't really feel, honestly, like, I mean, shit, I probably feel better at 40 than I did at 25, primarily because when I was 25, I was training so obnoxiously hard that I was always beat up, always. Like, I mean, dude, I remember distinctly, I mean, I'm sure you had these days too. Like, I'd be prepping for a CrossFit competition and I'd be like at a family gathering and I like wouldn't even be able to get up out of the chair. I'm so sore, beat up, wrecked. And it's like I was supposed to be at the epitome of my fitness, but I couldn't even function at a family party. Right now, I'm found that balance. And obviously, I was at an extreme case, but
Sure.
Like
sure. But I mean, I can absolutely be a testament to the fact that I think I also, when did I hurt my back? I hurt my back in 2019. So 6 years. Yeah. So I was in my late 20s, like mid to late 20s. I was like significantly in more pain and not in as good of shape as I am now with 2 kids and in my mid 30s. And that's been, in large part result to like my evolution and like how I view training, the type of training I do, what I bring to flex, and what I think is honestly incredibly beneficial for guys that have done a lot of like high intensity training and still want to train hard and still want to see their body like change and adapt, but like don't want to risk the chance of getting beat up and getting injured and don't want to be in pain. Like my own journey with fitness has in large part shaped how I train now and what I bring to that program, which is, why I'm so passionate about it. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be that you were training for the CrossFit Games. I think a lot of people went really hard, too hard, honestly, and like didn't value recovery almost because they had the excuse of like, well, I'm in my 20s, or, you can kind of get away with this stuff. And eventually you pay the piper for sure.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, another way that you feel old, and I'm sure people can relate to this, is like my daughter's 14. So if my daughter's 14, like how
and
old
you're a
do I
young
have to be?
parent.
What's that?
And you're a young parent.
Oh, yeah. But if I have a 14-year-old daughter, right? I mean, how old do I have to be, right? So it's like Ash and I will probably be some of the youngest parents, I imagine. Ava goes into high school like in
Pretty
a month.
young, yeah.
I imagine we'll be some of the youngest parents, right? Because I have a 14-year-old and I'm 39. That's especially in our area, that's not as common. But dude, yeah, having kids definitely. Time is weird, but you choose the way you feel, right? I really feel that way. Yeah, it's. Anyways,
you choose the way you feel, and you also choose the habits that will, impact how you let, the things that are quote unquote inevitable impact you as you age.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Period.
And you see it like with older, you could see guys. I mean, man, I see guys in their 60s, 70s, 80s who are still crushing it. And then you see guys who are extremely sedentary. And it's a byproduct of many small decisions over long periods of time in many cases. There's obviously exceptions, of course. People get sick, people have illnesses, of course. But in general, it's a byproduct of like many small decisions over many, many decades that lead to the capability later on in the future. And I want to be the guy who could throw around the grandkids. That's my goal. Yesterday I was at San Jose PD and I was putting on a class for them. And the range of ages for officers was pretty broad, actually. But did you get some guys like in their late 50s, getting ready for retirement who still came in and wanted to get down? And those are the kind of guys that have had a really successful career and are going to be able to have capacity moving on in the future because they've stayed consistent with that level of fitness. I love working with law enforcement groups. If you are law enforcement out there and you want to have us come over and do some support, we have several departments that are using the Train Hard app and the programs. In particular, I think TH Daily is a really good option for that. I think Flex also works as well. But if you're a law enforcement group, reach out to us because we'd love to be able to work with you guys. I got to shoot a Tommy gun too, which was really old school.
I saw the video.
Dude, so, San Jose PD has been around a long time. It's old. And they have a entire section of confiscated guns from like many years ago. Like I'm talking like weird confiscated guns, like giant Desert Eagle pistols to old school revolvers to you name it. They have all these like confiscated guns, like hundreds of them. And the guy is like, hey man, you want to check out something cool? I was like, of course. He goes, I have a traditional German firearm from World War II, which was like this. It was a really cool firearm. I can't even explain what it is. I got to shoot that. And then he busted out the Tommy gun. And, you see these gangster movies where these guys kind of get out of the car or like almost like Scarface, like those guns were so inefficient because you're shooting so many bullets and you have to reload and the accuracy is terrible. But man, was it a lot of fun. So yeah, I got to do that. That was an enjoyable experience for sure.
So they have these now just as relics, basically. Obviously, these aren't used anymore.
Well, I mean, the relics of the pistols and stuff was like that was like in a case, like you can't touch it.
Right.
But the Tommy gun, they just had there as like, I don't even know why he even had it. Like, dude, he just had it. And I've been to a lot of ranges and I've never seen one before. And it was super heavy wood, and taking out the magazine for anybody who's like, kind of curious, like taking out the magazine was not easy. I'm sure the gangsters learned how to do it easier. But like normally now with the modern day rifle, I mean, dude, your individual shots, you're rarely on automatic. It just isn't efficient for a magazine. But back then it's like, and then you drop the mag. Anyways, it was a very eye-opening for me how those types of things have evolved over the years, because that seemed like a weapon that would just do like mass destruction with minimal purpose versus now it's a little bit more structured.
It's a cool experience.
It was cool. I mean, hey, you get to put on a class and then get to go shoot some crazy stuff. It was fun. It was great. What's with your boy? Talk to me about your boy. What's happening with him?
Have you watched any of the videos?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't watch more than like 5 or 10 seconds of any of them because it's literally just rambling. But it's unfortunate, man. I mean, we had I thought a really good talk. We got some comments and I saw even in the community tab in the app, the last home team episode that we recorded, the one on Tuesday, stemming from the Mr. Beast video and just kind of mental health in general. And I don't know, man, like I have mixed feelings about all this because I think it's really unfortunate what seems to be like just a complete meltdown from the Liver. So anyone that hasn't been following, just really quick background, Liver King, real name Brian Johnson, was this guy who was like, I'm going to become this like viral personality because I want to, sell these organ supplements and just, be super successful. And he did so. He did it, quote unquote, without using performance enhancing drugs and steroids. That was like what he doubled down on for a long time. He preached these like 12 ancestral tenets, which was all about like, living like back in the day, like eating raw meat, eating organs, getting sunlight, working out hard. A lot of things that honestly, I think, without the extreme examples of like, eating raw organ meat and stuff, a lot of stuff that I think no one would argue is like bad. And I do know that a lot of people had a lot of success by like, hey, he says to go outside in the sun and work out every day and do all these things and be grateful. So I think that there was some good that came out of the stuff that he was preaching, but his story arc kind of took a turn starting when it came out very obviously that, he was using an insane amount of steroids. Yeah. And that this was all like, there was very hard evidence. He had like reached out via email to Derek for more plates, more dates to like ask him to like consult in like what he should be taking. There was a lot that came out from that where he was clearly working with experts to just get as like juiced as possible. So that was all kind of like a crazy moment where, a lot of people were like,
well, he had the
obviously he's on steroids.
So before you,
I didn't watch the documentary.
Okay. So his documentary came out on Netflix, and what it appeared to me, like
Did you watch
I'm
it?
actually I'm actually pretty intrigued on Liver King. Him and I have known each other, like, when we say know each other, like, he came up in the CrossFit space. So I knew of him back in the day. We've met a few times at SHOT Show and a couple other times. So he's always, like, we actually talked about it on the podcast. I think he's been nothing but gracious and nice to me and whatever, right? Him and I have had some email exchanges. He actually sent me some Ancestral supplements. So I was like, kind of like, I want to watch him win, right? Like, I want to watch people I know win. But dude, his documentary is pretty tough. Just to kind of give some context, and I'll send it back over to you for like what's going on now. But basically, the context is that as a young kid, they go into his background, then he gets into CrossFit, he gets into bodybuilding type stuff. Then he starts his ancestral tenants things. So, like, he already had a company that was already doing pretty well, and he wanted to like double down on it. So he hired this marketing company, and they basically told him what to do. So they took over all of his media content, and he blew up, like you're sharing. But dude, yeah, he goes into like how he got on steroids, and then they also start like showing his family and some of this other stuff. And it's just like towards the end, it looks like he might regretting a lot of his decisions, and he kind of like comes full circle on like the arc of like what you're talking about. But the documentary was kind of hard to watch because you watch a guy who had something really special and seemed like he had something going on, and then just like, I don't know, man. It seemed like it was just all a show. You know what I mean? I'd recommend for you to watch it. It's pretty eye-opening from a social media perspective about how he wanted to be famous and be successful so bad, and now look where he's at today. And I'll let you kind of go on with what happened now.
Yeah, I mean, all I've been seeing is every time I open Instagram, I feel like the first video that pops up is a new him just like rambling. And I know that a lot of what's been in those rambles is that he's like
trying to fight Joe Rogan
and saying he's coming to Austin to fight Joe Rogan. And like the videos progress with him coming to Austin and being in Austin. And so he ends up getting arrested because, you know, Austin PD said that they looked at the social media content and it seemed like, you know, the threats were escalating and he was taking actions to get closer to this person. So it seemed like it fell under the category of, what do they call it? Terroristic threats.
Yeah. So I think he got a restraining order, if I'm not mistaken. I think Joe reached out to the authorities. And by the way, I mean, I think Joe would just whoop his ass in a fight.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also think the cops were like, dude, we need a reason to just like take this guy. Like, this isn't going to end well. Right. I think that it was that almost as much, if not more so than like, oh, Joe Rogan's in danger and we have to like, you know, protect him. I think it was more of like I don't think this guy needs help.
Chance that Joe Rogan, can you imagine? I mean, Joe Rogan must have, so when I've seen Joe, there's never been a security detail around him, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's got to have some type of like secret guys all over the place that you don't even know.
100%. I don't think it's like just easy to like find him and like start getting into, and then even if that did happen, like I have no, and you probably know better than me, but I have no doubt that like Joe can defend himself.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, his background is robust.
Yeah. He's a black belt. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, right? And
he's also
taekwondo.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he has a extensive background in. Yeah. I want to say it might have been originally either taekwondo or karate, something like a little bit more like a traditional.
Well, he's known for his kicks.
Yeah.
But yes, but he's a black belt BJJ anyway.
Yeah. And I think he might have also done another form of jiu-jitsu, like a Japanese jiu-jitsu. I could be wrong. I'd have to look that up. But dude, the crazy part is that I think the craziest part about watching this downfall or I don't even want to call it downfall, because some people are saying like it could just be another marketing tactic.
I don't think so.
And by the way, I don't think so either. Is that it's really unfortunate because who has he surrounded himself with that isn't trying to help? Right? Like somebody's filming all these videos.
That's the strange thing. Is like his wife and stuff is all in these videos, and no one seems to be like, hey, dude, like, it's not.
You should probably stop, or just like taking his phone away. Like, I don't know, man. It's really unfortunate that no one is trying to step up and be like, hey, dude, what you're doing is weird. And it looks like, I mean, the rumor is that he's on a bunch of drugs, right? That's the rumor.
I mean, I wouldn't surprise. But anyway, without making any assumptions, kind of like my big takeaway from this and what I was hoping to bring to the conversation with you, and I'm curious your thoughts, is the one thing that does bother me, and I kind of understand why people do it, but either way, is like the ridicule behind it, I think is very counterproductive. And I think that we forget when people become these like personalities, regardless of the fact that like he lied, okay, he like said he wasn't on performance enhancing drugs and he was, whatever. I think that like making it now like the butt of a joke, like there's still a human behind that, right? Like there's still a person that's clearly dealing with some shit, clearly like broken in some ways, clearly like, you know, regardless of the financial success, regardless of the fact that he's been like super popular, like you only have to watch one of those videos to be like, this guy is not in a good place right now.
He needs support. Like he shouldn't
100%,
be like
100%. And I think the piling on and the like butt of a joke and like the, you know, this is because he was on steroids. It's just like, they're always online. And I know you agree with this. There's this like disconnect between like the fact that there's a human on the other side of this, that like, even if you disagree with what they put out, like just the negativity is so counterproductive. And that to me is a bummer in all this, because at the end of the day, it's just a guy that's fucking like having a really rough time, man.
Well, and the thing about it is like, I do believe most people, most of the time, are actually trying to do a good thing. You know, they're trying, like he actually, in my opinion, he truly wanted to try and make the world a better place by incorporating the ancestral tenets. And he went, extreme, because that's what got the views and the whatever. I mean, dude, there's a video of him and his family. I mean, he kills, I don't even know what animal it is. It's some type of animal, like on the documentary. And they go and they run over there and they pull out the heart, the kidney, the lungs, whatever, and they start eating it. And it's like, and then showing the kids and how they have like no bed and just like on the floor, and he like a lot of extreme things. But to your point, man, like I wonder if you ask him today, obviously if he was sober, whatever, I don't know if he is or isn't, right? But if you asked him, you said, hey man, if you can go back 5 years ago, 7 years ago, when you had a business that was doing well, I mean, I think when the new COO, because he hired a new CEO or whatever to come in for Ancestral Tenants. And at the time, his Instagram was like Ancestral Tenants or something like that. Then he shifted it to Liver King, right? At the time, they were doing, I could be wrong, 6 figures a month in sales. Something like that. That was what from the document.
I have heard this too. Like they were doing well. They were doing well. And he wanted to quadruple X that. So he hires a CEO, right? And they bring in a marketing company. And the marketing company claims they didn't know anything about the steroids and all this kind of stuff. But you wonder if you could ask him today, hey, would you go back and continue with what you were doing, right? Or would you have gone through this whole arc? I wonder what he would say, right? Because with that fame, with that, for lack of a better term, fortune, dude, I mean, it's caused some major disruption. And I wonder what impact it's had on the kids. I wonder the same thing actually with Andy Elliott. I saw a video of his that the daughters thing, dude. That was terrible.
That particularly disturbed me.
It was so bad.
I'm not gonna make a comment. Like I'm not that guy. I'll share it with you here and all of
and everyone that's listening.
Yeah, is that I found that in particularly super distasteful, especially with my experience. Like.
No, it was.
I wish I could just reach out to him. I would probably want to reach out to him and privately have a conversation. Be like, hey man, this is my experience. Like I would be aware of these things, because just to add some context, Andy Elliott, he's became like this number 1 sales guru. He's very much so like join the Andy army, like get off your ass, do some stuff. But he had his daughters on stage at one of his events. And basically, he told them he would go on a shopping spree or something like that if they got a 6-pack by the time the event came. And he pulled them up, and you could just tell like they felt uncomfortable. He had them pull up their shirt and show off their stomachs in front of 1,000 guys. You could just tell that they were a little bit uncomfortable, and putting out this message that like they get a shopping spree if they get a 6-pack in front of 1,000 guys at a store. I know at the time he probably has his best interest for his children, because obviously I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I just don't think he realizes like what that might do in the future. You know, it's unfortunate. In my opinion.
Huge step too far. Huge step too far. For sure.
But here's the thing. I don't think he has any like negative intent. I just think that his intent was like, hey, I want to inspire my kids to go do something. Like, I want to show that, hey, hard work drives results. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he ever thinks like, oh, this is going to cause,
Sure, but that doesn't change that. I mean, you can have an opinion that it's a huge step too far. I think that's for sure, man. I don't know. Like some stuff just seems so black and white that it's like, what good can come out of that? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because like I too just like know a lot of the cons that can come from that, just based off of even conversations that we've had, right? That it's just like, it's so real that, that's just not how you do it. Anyway.
Yeah, now that we're having this conversation, I don't know him. I've never talked to him. I've never messaged him. I'm going to send him a message and just be like, hey man, I just want to have a private conversation with you. This isn't like a social media thing, bro. This is a real life. Hey, let me share with you some of my perspective coming from my experience. And then I imagine he'll probably want to have a good conversation. But yeah, with age, I think, comes a little bit more experience. And obviously he's had a lot of experiences, but I'd like to share mine with him. But the Liver King, dude, I feel bad for the guy, man. I really hope that he...
For sure.
I hope that he surrounds himself with some people that kind of hold him, just try and help him, dude. Like, yeah. I mean, he's gone through a lot, especially like, yeah, he lied about the steroid thing. And I know that a lot of people kind of turned on him. But it's like, that was a little while ago. And now to see him just like on social, it's just bad.
Yeah, it's not good. Definitely not good, man.
I wanted to bring up, I sent you a note on this. Well, if you don't use it, you lose it. And then how quickly you could develop your skills. So I do think there's something to be said about how quickly you could lose diminishing skills. It's just a warning to all the guys out there. Like, I hadn't shot for, I don't know, maybe a month. Tops. I hadn't shot, right? And dude, I just wasn't as sharp, man. Just like, and we're talking a month. And, Justin Costa sent me a message like, dude, I hadn't done jiu-jitsu in a month. Boy, was I off my game. It's like, dude, these skills can start to drop down, especially like the skills that require a lot of practice. They could drop off quick. So if you're out there and you want to, be able to do certain skills, whether it's to fight, to shoot, to fitness, to whatever. I mean, fitness is probably an exception. Just make sure you're touching those skills on a regular basis, because if you don't use it, they go away really quickly. And you don't need to spend a bunch of time on it. You just need to refresh every now and then. That's it. That was my...
Definitely some truth to that. But I think that like the important flip side to that, as you were saying it, is I do think that exact thinking, I think, creates the resistance in a lot of people to then get back into it. And I think that that's not good either, right? Like, I know a lot of people, they're like, man, well, I haven't done it in a month. It's going to suck to go back. I'm not going to be as good. And then that becomes 2 months, that becomes 3 months, that becomes 4 months, that becomes I never do it again. And that I think is where it's very unfortunate, because I completely agree with you. It's so hard. And that's why we say never let your momentum get to zero. It's so hard, especially when you're someone that like really takes pride in the progress that you make in those things, to feel like, man, like I was at a, to put a number behind it, I was like at a level like 5 out of 10 when I stopped. I know when I go back now, I'm going to feel like a 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. And that just makes it so much more difficult to go and start again, because you don't want to feel like, a beginner again. But it's trusting the fact that, like, while it's true, if you don't use it, you lose it, you also get it back pretty quick because it's there. You just have to get back into it. So I think that's an important piece of that I would want to add is, but don't let that be the reason that you keep pushing it off even further. You got to go back.
It's going to be even that much harder.
Yeah.
I mean, the other note that I put up here is how quickly you could develop a core skill. I mean, dude, I have been absolutely fascinated by 2 things lately: a football camp and water polo. Just fascinated. Just so fascinated on how these boys, you watch them the first day of this football camp and they spend an hour, 2 hours learning how to do a drill, and just how much better all the boys can get in a very short period of time. Or water polo. Dude, I've been playing water polo with Ava to get ready for high school tryouts. And dude, I'm telling you, bro, in the span of a month or 2, night and day, like just crazy. And we're talking about total hours, what, 20? and how it's just so inspiring for like coming full circle on this. Like if there's a skill you want to acquire, dude, go commit 10, 20 hours like Gabe did with flying, and you'd be shocked at how much better you can get in such a short period of time. That's the inspiration for me right now because I'm watching it firsthand, real time.
Just got to get past that initial hump. But yeah, man, you can get very proficient at so many things. And it's funny that you mentioned that because that's the thing too. It's like once you actually put a number to like the number of hours it takes, it's not that many hours, dude. It's just a lot of people. It's frustrating when you go for a week or you go like twice or 3 times, but like you can't have the expectation that you're going to learn something in 3 hours, in 2 hours. That's unrealistic. But you know what you could learn in like 20, 30, 40 hours? It's pretty insane. So I think that's
but if
like
you put it on a piece of paper, right? Like, hey, my commitment is 20 hours. Like in the grand scheme of things, what is that? Like, that's not even a full day, obviously. But like, if you put that in the grand scheme of things, you put on a piece of paper, hey, I'm going to commit 20 hours to learning jujitsu or name the thing, right? Like I want to commit, actually, you know what? In a very near future, I want to commit to 20 hours of knife fighting. That's what I want to, I will commit to that on the show. We'll talk about that. I want to learn how to knife fight and I want to commit to 20 hours of it. I need to learn how to knife. I really want to learn how to do it. It's like I want to use one of those like shiv, like the, you know, like the double-sided blades. And I want to learn how to, I don't know. It's a skill that I have very little experience in. I'd like to be able to do it. I watched a class the other day and it was pretty fascinating watching this guy work the blade. So that's something I want to get into. I'll keep you posted.
And you a skill, knife fighting.
Yeah. Well, that, and then, so I'm just putting out there, this is going to be early on the podcast. So everybody's aware. I will be in Anaheim, California, doing a Hyrox with my wife, Ashley, as doubles. Now, here's the problem. I looked up the rules. Dude, we're using the elite weight though. Did you know this? Like,
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, if it's mixed pairs, you use the heavier weights.
I'm almost certain that's not true.
I hope it's not true because Ashley was like, hey, what size kettlebells we use for the farmer's carry? And I'm like, I think you use the 35s. But then I looked it up and it was the 52s. Gabe is currently
I'm looking it up.
I'm
pretty sure that that's not the case, but
I'm pretty sure it is.
I might be wrong.
Let's see what you say.
They also just released new rules because it's technically the start of a new season. So maybe that changed. Where did you look it up?
I just I don't even know. I just Googled it and then looked at like the website that came up for Hyrox. But what I'm trying to accomplish, and I'd encourage any guy out there listening to do this, is I try and find as many ways to connect and do things with my wife as possible. And oftentimes they are not very fitness related, except for golf. And so the Hyrox is a really cool opportunity because it could help her and I to both train for it. And it's something we can go do together. And then I have like this grand vision of like, hey, us and a couple of friends, we go do this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And then we go out afterwards. We have a great time. We find some crazy ass clubs, stay up till 4 a.m, and we celebrate this big accomplishment that we did doing Hyrox. So that's the vision. And if anybody wants to join us, we're doing Anaheim.
It's a 24 kilogram kettlebell.
Yeah. It's the heavier sled.
No, but that's not the heavy. That's not the elite. We did it with 72s.
Oh, but how about the sled, dude? The sled is pretty heavy too.
No, then because all the way you have to remember, like the whole reason that they are able to scale this is because there's not that many different weights, right? Like that's the whole reason. So this is the open weight for men is what this is.
Okay, but it's not the open weight for women.
No, it's going to be heavier than the open weight for women. It's going to be the elite weight for women.
Elite weight for women, open weight for men.
Yes.
Okay, on everything.
I believe it. If anyone in the comments knows better, because I'm sure we have someone that knows better, but just based off of looking at the website now, because also for example, the sandbag lunges are 20 kilograms. Okay. So that's
44 pounds. Yeah.
44 pound sandbag. We did it with 60. And the wall ball is a 6 kilogram ball. So
okay. What is that? Yeah, she was a little bit concerned about
15, 16.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it as the time comes up. We have some friends of ours that like really want to do well. Ash and I just want to have a great experience and just finish up strong. I think what's going to end up happening is that I'll have to take on, quite a bit of the stations and allow her just to find like a nice, smooth, steady clip on the runs. But we'll see. I don't know. It's
Is she running already? Is she like training for it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
dude. I mean, Ashley's in pretty good shape right now. I mean, she trains with a group of girls every day. So it's very exciting. I never thought I'd see the day and use this as inspiration for all the guys out there. I never thought I'd see the day that Ashley would sign up for anything fitness related, and never say never and keep an open mind. I'm telling you, dude, I'm 39. I think we're about to hit like the heyday where you're young enough, where like you got good energy, but you're old enough where you have these life experiences, because I feel like my mind gets more and more open every day. And the people around me that are in the similar age groups are also feeling that same way. Where like, dude, they're realizing like maybe what they thought when they're in their early 30s, mid 30s isn't necessarily true. And so it's like this group of people all in their late 30s, early 40s who like, I don't know, man, vibes are right, dude. I'm telling you, I think 40 is going to be the best years. That's a good way for me to feel too, because I'm about to hit it.
That's how you should feel, for sure.
That's
yeah,
how
man.
I should feel. That's exactly how I should feel. That's right. And people in their 30s should be saying the same thing.
Yeah, man. 30s for us, man, it's going to be, I mean, we're already halfway through, but it's just going to be diaper changing 10 years. That's how we're looking at it. It's fun, man. Dude, it's fun. It's like right now, they're both like, so Charlie, who's the youngest, she's, just over a year. She's like a year and she'll be a year and 2 months. So they're both starting to like communicate and talk and just be so funny. And dude, it is, I never want to skimp over the fact that it is incredibly hard and very challenging in many, many ways, but it is so fun. I stomach hurt laughing yesterday at just watching Shay like just say the most ridiculous things with like a really cute outfit. Like me and Ariel were literally like, I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Like it's constant comedy with these kids. I don't know where they come out of this stuff. He's like also like really starting to like have an imagination. So he just makes up shit out of nowhere. How he can recite facts about dinosaurs already is insane. He has this dinosaur book that we read every night, and he remembers shit that like I don't remember. And then I'll go back to the page and I'll find it. I'll be like, it's fascinating, man. It's so much fun.
Dude, it's the why we train, man. I sent over a post this morning, I sent a message this morning to Liz, and I was just talking about like points on the scoreboard and stuff. And like, dude, if you could put up points on the scoreboard early, you show up your kids early. I'm equating it like, just like, why are you training in the first place, man? Training for the kids. Training to show up.
So this is a fun little update. We last week committed to sleep training Charlie. So now they're both out of the bed, which is giving our nights back, which is just a complete game changer. I know that sleep training is kind of one of those things that like everything else parenting wise, people feel very strongly like one way or the other. The way we've approached it is we've co-slept with our kids past the year. And then once they're at a year, we use the Take Care of Babies course, which I really like, how they approach sleep training. It's not like a full on, like just, rip the Band-Aid off and let them cry it out and fall asleep. It has like a very structured, like you go in, you check in every now and then. I also think that they do a really good job explaining why they cry and get so upset and how it isn't this like, panic or discomfort. They're really just frustrated that they're not getting what they want. So I think they do a really good job at like, for parents who never want to hear your kid cry or be upset, I think they do a good job of like explaining kind of what's going on. And dude, with both kids after 3 nights, they're
What's the course called?
Taking Care of Babies. And Cara is, I think, Cara. Highly recommend it.
Oh, Cara. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think that's the lady's name, if I'm not mistaken. But Charlie's sleeping on her own now. And because of that, I've gone twice on these solo trips with Shay. We've gone to baseball games and we spend the night. But Ariel's never been able to do that because she hasn't been able to leave Charlie yet. But now that Charlie is, and part of the reason that we did this, part of the reason we were like, we have to do this because we have the Mexico trip coming up where both the kids are going to stay with the grandparents. So we're like, we got to get this going. So now that both kids are sleeping on their own, Ariel left today. She's spending the night at the beach just with Shay. So Charlie's with my parents now, but like tonight she's just going to be with me. So I think that another thing that's been really good for us, and we want to do this forever, is prioritizing like one-on-one time with the kids.
Wait, what beach is she going to?
Rockport. It's on the Gulf. It's like 2.5 hours.
Huh. Okay.
It's not super far. The Gulf beaches are like hit or miss. It's obviously no California beach, but depending on where you go, there's some pretty nice beaches out here on the Gulf, depending where you go in like time of year. But long-winded way of saying, well, what I wanted to get to is because they were going on this trip and she wanted to leave pretty early, Ariel this morning woke up before me and she was at the gym at 5 a.m., got a workout in before the kids woke up, came back, was super fired up, like that it worked out because she got back. The kids hadn't woken up yet. And yeah, man, I mean, I one of the things that I really, really appreciate about her, and I'm sure you appreciate about Ashley, is how we're so on the same page about like what's important and our priorities. And just the fact that like, you know, she was out there literally before me. Like I woke up and she wasn't in bed anymore. She said she was going to like try and do it, but she got it done and she got a workout in. You know, points on the scoreboard, man. It's not something that's specific to us as men and dads, but I think that like it's one of the best things that we've prioritized is just like knowing that there's time before the kids wake up where we can do something that gets something done so that we just feel better and can show up better later in the day. And the fact that Ariel's able to do that now too, because we're, you know, back to sleeping in the bed without the kids it was cool to watch this morning for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and then as they get older, obviously it evolves, right? Then you could have nap time, you can work out then, or like in our case, Ashley, you know, they go to school. And so after they go to school, then there's plenty of time to go and train. So it's just a constant evolution. One, I'm going to have to keep everybody posted on the podcast because Ava and I had a great conversation yesterday. She's in a summer camp right now at her high school. And it's been very fascinating for me to hear her and the friend groups. So it's been really interesting for me just to like ask her questions. So there's about 50 girls that are doing this summer camp. And just ask her like, hey, how are like the people getting connected? And like, she's like, a lot of it has to do with like the clothes they're wearing. And like, it's fascinating for me to hear like, hey, like you have 50 girls, all the same age. How do you start to make some friendships? What are the first triggers that like go off, right? And she's like, dude, a lot of it has to do with like the way they look. Not necessarily like race, this, but like how they dress. Like, do they take time to get dressed the way I like to get dressed? Or do they not really care and they're more sporty? Or do they wear this type of clothes? Like, and then all of a sudden you find like a sense of identity with those type of people and you start like connecting with them. And so it's been really eye-opening for me how does that impact even as you're an adult, but as you're a kid, you always want a sense of identity, a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. And so that starts at a young age, like finding people who kind of dress like you or kind of look like you or have similar interests, and then it evolves. So that's been really fascinating for me. Oh, viral photo of Gen Z women sparks something Liz just put up. I don't know
what does it spark?
I don't know. Liz just put up maybe it's the fact
they're all dressed exactly the same.
Oh, that's what it is. So that's a perfect example. Like, look at that picture. This picture's of 1, 2, 3, 4, like, I don't know, 7.
That's so funny.
Younger women, right? All wearing jeans and essentially like some type of like crop top, short top. I don't even know if that's called a crop top. Whatever.
Liz, do you have that exact same outfit? Be honest.
Yeah. So, but it's a really good example, right? Like you watch these people and they start connecting by the clothes and then it kind of goes from there. So I'll have to keep you guys informed. Like once she actually gets into high school, like how those relationships start to bond, but it makes you wonder, like just from a human psychology perspective, this idea of feeling connection and how your clothes can tell so much about who you are, especially I don't know if it's as much for guys, but definitely for girls because they seem to pay more attention to it than I do. I don't pay much attention to it. So maybe that in itself means that I'd connect with people that don't care either. You know what I mean? Let's see what Liz says.
No, I do know what you mean.
She says she does have an outfit. All right. Well, hey, on that note, look, for everybody who enjoys this podcast, simple ask. Leave the podcast a rating and review. Share it with some friends. Let's keep moving the needle forward. You know, we're on a mission to level people up. We have conversations about a variety of different things. But the heart and at the crux of what we're trying to accomplish is to help men level up. And we get a lot of feedback that they appreciate these conversations because it's just a good way to ground us, ground you, and help us all achieve what we want to achieve. So check out the podcast show notes for the Train Hard app and the community we're building. Check out the newsletter that Gabe had mentioned earlier. And then also make sure to leave the podcast a rating and review. I know that's a lot to ask, but we're trying to give a lot. All we're asking in return is like, let's just build this thing together and get this in the hands of more and more guys. Any kind of final remarks there, Gabe?
No, man. That's it.
Gabe has Tank Top Thursday. Normally we call it Tank Top Tuesday. I got to put out my message today for the Train Hard Men's Club in Los Gatos. I got one coming up in Winona, Minnesota, July 3rd. So I think this is going to go out just a couple of days before. If you want to be there in Winona, Minnesota, hit me up on Instagram at Jason Khalipa. Keep training hard. See you guys again next week.